It's almost time. Just a few more minutes. And as you glance over at her, you guys see that she turns back and begins tending to her small flock once again. Apparently, this is a routine of some long years of development for her, as she's already seemingly forgotten she said it, and is engrossed in her work once again. All right. Now at this, you hear a very deep, kind of bass-laden laugh, a bellow actually, coming from somewhere far off to the right of you guys. You would guess it might even be as far as like, a quarter to a half mile off in that direction. Definitely still within that kind of sphere or that circle of where you're seeing the portals open and close. And somewhere off close to the base of the structure itself, this bellow, this laugh, is definitely from the belly. And Ymir, you're slightly impressed because it sounds like when you've had a little too much of the special spiced ale of your homeland, and you kind of actually start getting in good humors, as it's called.
Yep.
And so, hearing this, you would guess that it's a very large humanoid, and that they are probably of some kind of supernatural origin. But as all of you look over in that direction, a little intrigued by this, you guys still see nothing. Nothing but the kind of castle proper around the base itself. No other signs of life. Now you notice...
Does Ymir recognize the laugh at all?
You do not. You do not.
Okay.
You guys now hear off to the left a kind of little humming and whirring sound that makes you think of like servos in some kind of giant robot vehicle, and accompanying kind of crunching of vegetation and ground that would go along with a probably multi-tonned heavy combat robot chassis passing by at maybe you would say maybe 100 yards off to the left, and again fairly close to the superstructure, kind of at the same kind of distance from the superstructure you guys are. So you hear a few steps being taken, and then really nothing, as whatever it was appears to settle into place, and as you look over again you see nothing. You start hearing low murmurs and chatter starting to bleed through from the surrounding area, almost as though somebody is fading it in slowly. And it is still coming from fairly long distances, so it's not easy to make out, but you're starting to actually hear people chattering and mumbling and talking to themselves. It's a very strange effect, especially since you're not seeing anybody around. Okay, as you guys are waiting for a moment, what would you like to do?
Can we take a quick break? I gotta pee. And get
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds good.
cool if we take a 5?
Yeah, let's do that right now.
Is that cool with everyone else?
Yep, indeed.
It's very cool with Odin.
Yeah, I gotta take a piss myself. I bet my dogs wouldn't mind going out.
I'm wearing my RPG diapers, so I'm good.
My back teeth are floating.
I got a cool ass dragon on the back.
Alright guys, I'll be back.
Yo,
I'll be right back too.
I'll wait until they get back.
Nah, I'm here.
So you can go? No.
I'm saying I'm waiting. You not back yet?
So, OCC, who's got the money I forget who's got the communal money. You,
do.
right? If I remember right. Yeah, cool.
I decided to take it back from you.
Yeah, no, yeah, because I was like, what?
Rock, paper, scissors. You
Ymir
lose.
Ymir does not
I get
understand.
it. Wait, why get it? No,
Wait,
you
what?
take it.
Alright, cool. Well, then, that's what I thought. I remembered, right? So, Akama can accompany Ymir when we finally get to this place, and whatever the mega damage materials cost for me to buy, I will make your knife. Finally, I'll be able to fucking make that dagger. So, you guys can fork over your silver knives, and I'll make you a nice fucking dagger out of that,
If you like, go ahead and make an itemized receipt on how much you spent, and I'll just reimburse you.
Well, that's the thing. I probably won't have enough money to cover it myself for all the mega damage materials, because that's what I'm buying for the armor and stuff. The dagger, it won't be anything. The dagger, I'll make on with my workshop time. But it's fun. I'm trying to get my armor going, so I don't know how much it's going to cost. But since I'm not carrying the money, Akama's got to accompany Ymir. Because if the motherfucker says it's 20,000 credits or whatever, he's not going to have that on him.
You need your sugar daddy to come help out. I feel you.
Back.
Well,
So
you-
welcome.
You're better with the I can haggle over the price all I want to. I'm good at that shit. But as far as talking, yeah. I mean, as far as that, you're the one holding the fucking money, so.
You should just like go up and be like, hey man, how much is this? Oh, it's 50. You know what? The quality doesn't look as great. How about 45? And
It's
then I come up
free.
and I say, hey, how you doing? What is this? Oh, this is terrible. How much is it? Like 40?
The counter scam. Yeah, I like that. That's fucking.
They never know. Shh. No more, no more, no more.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it's a very Akama idea. I respect your
Bro.
thought process on it. That's a very Akama idea to say.
DBS strikes again. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool. I just wanted to make that clear because, yeah, you got to fucking you got the money bag. So if the motherfucker says fucking 40 G's or whatever the fuck
Spit in
for
his
my.
face and say 30.
You look at the Smith, you look at the fucking dealer, and you're like, look at my size of my friend over here. Are you really gonna charge him that price? Are you really gonna charge a guy that big that much money? Are you really gonna do that? I wouldn't do that if I were you, you know?
Sir, do you value your life? Like, are you willing to bet your ore over this pitiable life you live?
Look at
I
the
said-
size of this man.
I suggest you chill out on your prices and deliver us a discount.
I implore you to reconsider and give us a discount. Hit him with the Kung Pao under the fist. I fucking love it.
Is your hands worth anything? Terrible.
I know, but that's what makes it fun. And hell, this is great content for the behind the scenes Patreon people. They would love to hear this bullshit.
Nah, man, they don't want to hear this shit. See? They can tell how sneaky Akama is in the back of the scenes. Oh shit,
Oh,
Tequila's
we-
back. Yo, what's up,
Yeah.
man?
All we were
Yeah,
going, all we were going over, Kilo, was I was like, okay, who's got the communal fund? Because Bear needs money for resources, and you guys can fork over your silver knives, and I can make that dagger for a combo finally.
I
And
don't have a silver knife.
but
I got. Don't
oh, I
worry.
thought you did.
I got it. Don't worry. I got it.
Oh yeah, it'll be fine. I thought you did too. My bad, Kilo.
You only got boom sticks.
No, I've got a sword.
Yep.
Yeah, I did know if that came with your standard gear though. Like a lot of classes, like I had a silver knife just off of
I
the-
don't think I do. Got a silver cross.
Hell yeah,
Wooden
boy.
stakes mallet.
Wooden steaks. I love steaks.
No, I don't have a silver knife.
I mean, are you a devout Christian? Do you mind if I fucking melt your cross down?
I have a survival knife. No, I'm not a devout Christian, but I believe it's for vampire reasons. But I mean, I've got other things
Oh,
to
I
use that
see.
too. I can.
Yeah, make
Uh,
silver bullets.
Well, I would just do create water or create wood spells.
Yeah, and then spit on them. Sorry.
Spit on him. You're really looking to kill somebody with a
I don't
fucking
know.
loogie, aren't you? Come on.
That'd be sick though.
Fucking
I step up like, what up, bitch? And I spit on his face like, ah, it burns! You motherfucker! You spit on me! Then I spit on him again.
No, it's gonna hit him for mega damage and kill him, because it's like taking a rubber bullet directly to the fucking brain, point blank. Yeah, that's
Spit in his eye. Fucking
yeah.
dissolve that shit. Bust a hole through his eyepiece.
That poor motherfucker.
I wanna tell my mom!
But,
Fucking cocksucker!
No, I mean his brains are gonna be on the back wall, and it's gonna look like the fucking Michael Corleone hit in The Godfather. It's gonna be fucking.
I mean,
It's gonna
it'll
be-
slowly get to that, but yeah. I
Well,
get what you're picking up.
I mean, mega damage creature against a regular person, dude. It's like you fucking hawk a loogie at somebody too hard, they die. That's fucking 1 mega damage death. Period. Oops.
Like those tribes with the straw and the dart.
Right. With a blow dart, but yeah, it's your own fucking. You're just like. And you fucking nail somebody on the other guy across the bar and they die.
I fold my 2-inch lips into a circular and I inhale as much as I can, salivate in my mouth, and whack right the dude in the face.
I launch a spitball so hard at somebody that it goes through their cheek and out the other side. Oops.
Sorry, I was aiming for your nose. No.
Oh shit, I missed. My bad. I meant to hit you in the temple. Shit, now this is awkward.
Oh, I'm sorry, you okay? And then try it again. Fuck! Man, I suck at this.
I don't know, man. The way the perception checks were rolling there originally, like now we're on a more of a hot streak, but those perception checks were rough in the beginning.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I had a couple rolls though.
I had
Terrible.
3 bad ones.
Dude, my catch-up session, or sessions to catch up to you guys, The very first one, I was fucking rolling like 2s and 3s for like every single roll, and I was like, dude, I don't know if I even want to play today. Like, this is just. I was just like, maybe we should reschedule because this ain't working out for me.
Yeah, we saw the.
You guys gonna come back and be like, hey, so is Kilo coming back to the game? And they'll be like, no, actually, his character died. How? He drank water wrong. Like, that's how bad I was rolling.
He choked on water. Oops.
Like, it was fucking. Ugh.
You were on a hot streak a little bit, but yeah.
No, I got a
not
hot
bad.
streak. Yeah, at first, initially, I was like, I think it was second session of my catching up sessions was okay, but that first one was just like 2s and 3s, and I was like,
I was drinking water and walking down the stairs, and then I slipped and then smashed that cup in my face, and I got glass shards in my
It's
eye.
like that first episode of
blinded.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine where he's like, oh, I dropped my muffin. Oh, I hit my head. Oh, I stepped on my muffin after I hit my head. It's like,
All right. Let's see. Okay, so we need to switch back over. And
How was your break, GM?
I am good, man. I needed that. God damn. Fucking,
Yeah,
I'm realizing
we
I
were,
need to get a better computer chair because holy shit, this thing.
Well, and we need to schedule it about this time, maybe even a little bit before, but we need at least one break in the 4-hour session. Like, it's because it does just, I know for me mentally, if we don't take 5 sometime, it just fucking blah after a while. I don't mean it to be like that, but brain goes burr after fucking.
Yeah, I've been dying to light this fucking thing up too, so we are. I said halftime, so.
Right, let's go.
Alright, and. Okay, we're already through this. Okay, so this is gonna be our. Let me just write something real quick here. Alright, and here's the. Oh, this is just the name stuff. We can put this to the side. You guys are mess with that later. Okay. We're about to move to. Let me take a look at the audio assets real quick just so that I know what our next couple transitions are. So we're going here.
Falcon Punch.
No. Falcon hit. Oh no, yeah, that's not what I heard at first. I was like, what? Where did that come from? Falcon Punch. No, I can't say what I heard.
Say it. We're all adults here.
I heard Donkey Punch. And I was like, the fuck? I was like, what? I was like, what the fuck did you say?
You ever played Super Smash Brothers, Captain Donkey? Donkey
Yeah,
Punch!
Donkey Punch.
Fucking what? My brain. I'm sorry. Oh, Jesus. I still got up too early. My brain's still on the old schedule, so I got up at 11. I'm fucking.
No worries at all, man. All right, guys. I think we are good to go. Okay. I'm gonna get this pulled back up. Okay. So as you guys stand before the wandering aristocrat, the 2 sentry tanks are just kind of maintaining their position. You've been told to wait just a few minutes, and as those tick by in anticipation, again, you're hearing all kinds of sounds of other individuals in the distance and close by, but they're remaining unseen. After another just brief moment, a loud klaxon sounds, and then a different toned buzzer from before. And you see that the large red light turns a bright green. In rhythm, the lights on the front of the sphere tanks also turn green. Each tank takes up a position far to one side and turns inward, apparently inviting you to approach closer. The green light and buzzer also seem to indicate it is now safe and appropriate to approach the structure itself. What would you guys like to do?
I would like to put my camera in my hand and take some pictures.
All right, as you start taking some pictures, you see that there are apparently 6 or 7 of those other structures that I described earlier, the more primitive structures. And then there's the main structure itself, but other than that and the shepherds and the sphere tanks, there's really nothing else in the area that's too awfully intriguing. Did you want to take pictures as you enter this area, or did you want to just continue taking stuff of the surrounding areas?
Kind of both, but my I think my feeling might change the closer I get. Not too sure, so I'm on the ropes.
Okay.
So most likely,
Just anything interesting, kind of thing.
Just yeah, exactly.
Okay, excellent. You are a little taken by, as you start to really approach the legs, you're pretty impressed at the just kind of mechanical construction of them, because while it does look relatively advanced, it's not so advanced that it's using things other than like hydraulic pistons and regular alloys of metal. And so in a strange way, it's almost this kind of steampunk sort of technology, apparently. One thing you get, though, as you guys all start getting closer is that everything, with every step that you take closer to this structure, things just are starting to feel more and more fuzzy. You're noticing that visual details are starting to get a little less crisp, and you're not sure if there's like a mist or a fog forming or what, but all of you are just starting to feel like things are on a fundamental level with each step and each few feet that you drive. Everything just starts having a kind of haze and fog being draped across it. You're still hearing all of those sounds of individuals around you as well. In fact, now you hear them even more clearly, and you would guess that it's people speaking in different languages to each other, so groups, as well as things like vehicles and machinery operating. It's starting to get a little more clear as you move in towards the structure, but again, this kind of fog is starting to permeate everything. As you guys get right to the kind of outer perimeter of the legs, everything about what you're seeing instantly shifts. And in front of you, a new scene starts to emerge. You guys see that the sun overhead seems to very quickly shift into another position, and that you instantly start seeming to be standing in some kind of shade. As you continue looking around, here we go. As you continue looking around, you see that you are now in what looks to be a kind of archaic, almost like an alleyway or an entry point. There is indeed an old sailboat of some kind that seems to be kind of shipwrecked off to the side in this kind of grassy, mossy patch. of stonework that you find yourself in. This kind of alleyway is indeed guarded by what looks to be a knight on a horse, with a long lance as his main armament. There is heraldry hanging from both knight, mount, and weapon, denoting some kind of noble lineage or some kind of royal caste, in your guys' estimation, although it's unfamiliar to your eyes. You see that even though this outer kind of area seems to be in fairly poor disrepair, you're all marveling at the fact that as you look behind you, this alleyway just continues on for what seems to be a mile or two off to your rear. And whatever the magics of this place are, they seem to be incredibly potent. As you now find yourself before this archway, you see that the knight above holds one hand out, palm forward, up about head level. He spins the hand around to face himself. The palm is now facing his back, and he waves you forward in a gesture of entry. You no longer are hearing the other sounds of individuals around you, but you are hearing what sounds to be like civilization from up ahead, including many overlying conversations and, exclamatory kind of pronouncements as people are shocked and surprised, perhaps at the wonders in shops' windows and at the different kinds of food that you're starting to smell wafting across the air through the causeway here. You're starting to notice roasted meats, candies, meads, ales, all kinds of different alcohols, drinks, breads, desserts, sweets and treats. You're smelling the very familiar sense of light industry, and they are not wholly unpleasant. By light industry, I don't mean anything, having to do with, butchery or anything like that. I'm talking simply about, cooking, woodworking, those kinds of things. And they all produce...
methane.
Yeah, right. And they all produce, what you would consider to be non-toxic kind of, odors and things like that, and byproducts. So anyway, as you guys are moving forward, you're noticing that you're not getting any, notes of chemicals or waste products. You're not picking up any smells from the wasteland or anything like that. And everything still smells very natural, very pristine, just with the, addition of some of the finer arts to it. And let's see. Now, as things shift in this way, what would you guys like to do? Is there anything anybody wants to do? By the way, Geiger, to anybody who checks, appears to be completely at ease. In fact, she's lounging back, leaning on one elbow in a kind of reclined, half-laying, half-sitting posture.
I was going to ask you, she's so different than this technology here, or at least appearance-wise. It just seems like it's almost like a culture. It's a very different, I don't know. She
actually seems to be completely just relaxed, and seems as though this is something that perhaps she's done many times in the past. So
is this more relaxed, and she's acting more leisure than she normally has, period? Since we've seen her, basically?
Correct.
Okay.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Yes, that is an important distinction.
I will do my second attempt just to be, it knows am I trying to be flirty with her. I'm trying to just be friendly with her, but I'll do a second attempt to kind of just be they seem a little bit more relaxed here. I'm going to go up and kind of just try to, I'll just go up to her and say, you seem quite at home here.
Okay, you you call out kind of over your shoulder. You can kind of glance over and see her in the position that she's in. And as you call out to her and say that, she kind of lithely raises up and crawls along the exterior to where she grabs a railing kind of near the pilot's compartment, and steps down on one of the kind of running board kind of areas and leans kind of over towards your window so that you can actually like hear her easily, almost like, you know, riding on the outside of like a military truck, you know what I mean? And as she does so, she comes within about 2 feet of you so that she's not being extremely loud. She says,
"This is one of the few places you can relax. The treaties are strong, and no one will break the accords. So, for the time being, take it easy, restock, resupply, and get ready for the creep. It's gonna be a bitch."
Okay, and at that, she kind of jumps back and takes her previous position. Now, however, she's actually standing up on the top of the vehicle, just kind of looking around in a relaxed posture, kind of holding that kind of tarp close around her.
Are you gonna say, "Hey, yo, girl, let me get in the bionic pants"?
The vice. All right. So what are we doing, guys?
So how close are we to this small city, big city?
That is a great question. As you look forward, you see that once you pass under the archway, which you guys are probably about 100 feet from it, once you pass under the archway, the path just seems to continue on into what looks like a large, old kind of castle structure. But as you guys look up and around, you're not seeing anything about the old structure from the outside that you saw. You don't see the legs behind you. You don't see a castle above you. You're not seeing any of the familiar structure ahead of you. This just looks like the kind of entrance into an old, kind of decrepit sort of castle structure, and are up ahead. It takes a bend around to the right where it's just kind of obscured. You're not really seeing where you're going to end up. So yeah, with that being said, does anybody want to do anything?
I mean, I just kind of want to get a layout of the place eventually. I mean, I'm not sure how quickly we're moving, but
Is there a tourist map?
yeah, you are here.
As you guys look around, you're not seeing any kind of accommodations at all yet.
Okay.
As you do proceed forward, if somebody's wanting to do something, just let me know. As you guys do proceed forward, you pass under the arch and see that the knight apparently is wearing some kind of sophisticated mega damage replica of ancient knight's plate armor. The horse you can now see from this closer distance is definitely cybernetic and of a very expensive and advanced model indeed. You guys further see that the weapon itself appears to be some kind of channeling device for some form of energy, and itself may indeed be some kind of energy cannon type piece of gear.
In his respectful nod towards the knight as they pass through the archway, could Ymir make a mental note of this armor and kind of study its design and incorporate it into sort of his memory banks for creation to possibly craft something similar or in the same vein?
What you can definitely do, why don't you go ahead and do a perception check?
Am I noticing
two
Ymir look
of
at this
them
as
for
well?
me. What's that?
am I noticing Ymir take interest in this? Am I seeing an eyebrow
Yes.
raise or?
Yes, you definitely, as you look over, notice he's kind of leering at it.
Okay, to help Ymir out, may I possibly use my psionics and get a total recall of this armor set?
Yeah, absolutely.
I know it's like mostly written, but it's also visual information.
Absolutely. You're going to be able to get a complete, detailed, kind of image of it, memorized, no problem.
I just read this in the notes of the spell, which we have not done, and I just realized we haven't done it. It does say at the bottom, roll percentile to see how much retained.
For all the important stuff, I've been doing perception rolls, I'm kind of using this in a different way.
Sure, just making sure that we didn't fuck it up, or I didn't.
No worries at all. No worries at all. Let's see. So you got.
I will let him know. I'm like, I can help you if you're interested in that to him before he not before he does anything, but I can before I do what I'm gonna do. I can give him the heads up that
Did you already? You didn't cast that yet, did you?
Me, no.
Okay, so Ymir, the first thing is you're looking up and you're trying to get a good kind of concept of what it looks like so that you're going to at least be able to try and recreate the appearance of it.
Right.
And unfortunately...
Or at least understand the style of it.
Yes. And unfortunately, as you're kind of checking it out, you don't feel like you're really grasping it the way you would like to mentally. Go ahead and roll one more perception check. Okay, luckily you're able to remember that you have noticed your companion, Akama, constantly taking photographs, and you're very familiar with, that kind of technology. And so as you remember this, you realize that if you wanted, you could, ask him to help you with that.
Ymir turns to do I notice Ren do anything with his total recall? Ren, are you gonna cast that? Have you already?
I wanted to throw that out just in case instead of casting that if you wanted to.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
Okay. No, yeah. I understand what you're at. Okay. Given what you just told me, Ymir turns to Akama and says, Brother Akama, can you use your camera to capture a picture of that night for me?
All right, and because of your skill in English, it's parsed down and also includes some, somatic, hand gestures to help kind of communicate. But your skill with English is definitely improving. All right, so Akama, what would you like to do?
Oh, sorry. Didn't know you were there.
You do pick up clearly that he's just hoping you'll take some images of that.
Yeah, so I was shooting for taking pictures of the surrounding area, including the wandering city. Then as we made our way in, I took pictures of the knight that was guarding the passage to the inner city, and then some of the ruins in the area.
Perfect. All right, so as you communicate this, Ymir, when you catch Akama's attention, he gives you an affirmative thumbs up, just denoting that he's already got it.
Yep.
So, boom, we are moving on.
Okay. I was
go ahead.
gonna try. Oh, I was gonna try to use my mechanical engineering skills and my total recall so I could assist him in the future when he's making the armor, so I have a full understanding of how it works as opposed to just a picture of it. But
absolutely, go ahead and do a engineering roll, and then if you want to go ahead and cast. You said you wanted to do the total recall, right?
I mean, it doesn't matter if he has the picture. I guess that's.
Well, it's up to you, man. The engineering might. Let me put it this way: it might help slightly in trying to reproduce the more technical sides, but you kind of guess that he's not as interested in that as just the like design of the armor. Does that make sense?
I didn't guess that, so I want then.
Okay. All right. I guess I'm just trying to say it would help with like, you know, the like high tech parts of it, but it's, you know, probably not the target. So now
Ymir just likes it because it's chunky, and he wants to see if he can recreate something like that. It's not really about the tech, like the GM said.
Okay, so
I'm gonna shout toward the guard, and I'll say, "Oi! Is this the way to the market?"
Okay, and at this, in just a completely pleasant sounding, almost like a Disney prince kind of, you know, confident baritone, it just kind of rings out and says, "Indeed, welcome travelers." And to this, the horse that it rides upon just kind of clomps its foot 3 times in a kind of noble kind of acknowledgement. And the general atmosphere of these figures lends you to think that the horse is definitely a cyber mount, but you're now unsure as to whether, you know, this could possibly definitely be like some kind of automaton or android or something, just because of the almost perfect kind of cadence and nature of the speech that it uses. And it does ring back in the same language. Last thing is that you guys notice that it is proportioned fairly heavily, and that the humanoid figure does look like it would be pretty damn capable in combat, as well as being able to probably soak up quite a bit of punishment. All right, you guys proceed through the archway, and as you round the corner, you guys come to what looks to be a very verdant kind of like entryway garden facility. As you step around the corner, you essentially walk through a huge opening to what looks like almost like a greenhouse. And as you step into this area, you see that it's more like just a huge courtyard that is filled with some of the most exotic and beautiful types of native Earth species flora that you guys have encountered. Now, you're noticing that it doesn't especially look to have any kind of like alien or non-planetary native plant life represented. And even the small insects that you're seeing are all things that one would commonly attribute to this planet. Now, the reason I bring this up is that this world is such a melting pot of all different kinds of cultures and, you know, species that, and you know, dimensional and planetary attributes, that in a way it's almost like going to a zoo or a preserve to find a kind of special and unique place where it's all indigenous life still. There's almost always something else going on everywhere you go besides just what was native to Earth before the coming of the rifts. So in this way, stepping into this, it's actually kind of interesting to each of you. There's something almost like a museum quality to this. You hear the sounds of the insects permeating, as you're also hearing what sounds to be almost like air vents, perhaps, circulating through this large 100-foot ceilinged greenhouse. as you guys continue walking through and driving, the path is more than wide enough to allow you through in the main kind of alley that leads off into the distance. You see on either side there are these the kind of what you're seeing in the viewpoint here, little areas that have specific sections of garden partitioned away, denoting, you know, different kinds of earth environments, different kinds of locations that, you know, would house similar plant life. You guys are, you know, interested in this, but you're also ready to get where you're intending to go. So unless anybody is wanting to investigate further, you guys are making your way through that about 400-foot section of long kind of garden alley leading forward. Is there anything anybody's wanted to do, or shall we proceed?
I peek my nose out to sniff out and see if a special herb is in the vicinity.
Yes, you smell every herb you could possibly hope to smell. On that note, all right. So, what does everybody want to do? Anything at all, or?
I would like to use my advanced skill in botany and just study some of the plant life, especially if this was ancient plant life of pre-Rifts Earth. Then it would give Ymir more knowledge on potentially what plants to look out for, or like a subspecies that's more common in this timeline for future use in poisons and potions and stuff.
As you look around, you're not sure whether it's frowned upon or not to kind of harvest from this.
No, yeah, I'm not looking to harvest. I'm just looking to study from a looking standpoint to see if I notice anything or anything.
Sure.
Yeah.
You look around and you're actually seeing damn near everything that you can think of in in your mental catalog of earth plants. You're seeing pretty much everything represented. You're not understanding a lot of the different how they're organized into some of these kind of little rooms.
Do I notice any plants like nightshade or anything?
You do. You're
poison?
seeing, yeah, you're seeing lots of different, you know, representations of poisonous plants. You're seeing pretty much anything that you could imagine out of what you know, and then way, way more than that represented all around you.
Okay. All right.
You're intrigued by some of the things that you aren't familiar with, but, you know, short of actually taking samples, it would be hard to really gain much useful information. So,
of course.
But yeah, you are seeing all of that represented. As you guys head forward, you quickly go through another large kind of gateway. This has huge, what look to be oaken doors with metal bands and rivets to reinforce. The doors appear to be about 20 feet tall and solidly built to resist even siege attacks. They are currently open and swung inward, revealing a large kind of entryway that is bordered by some kind of almost like an aquifer. You guys see that in this kind of hallway looking area that you've now emerged into, there is a kind of blue glass styled roof high above, probably 50 feet overhead. This looks like it's letting sunlight through, but it's heavily tinting it blue, as well as are the walls, windows, and in a way, the aquifer's water on the sides and far off in front of you as well. Now, the aquifer, it basically looks like it basically looks like a canal system that's running kind of around the perimeter of what this room appears to be, with lots of openings going off to the sides, apparently being what you would guess either a continuation of waterways that are used or of a water distribution system. You're not exactly sure which, as currently you're not seeing any kind of, craft floating about or anything. None of that is apparent. As you look around, you see that the tile work is incredibly beautiful. You're all able to deeply appreciate the craftsmanship that has gone into pretty much every detail of the adornments around you. This reminds you something of a kind of like a ticket station that you would expect to find in a grand old Victorian type kind of like train station, or rail depot. There are several doors along the walls, as well as staircases that seem to lead off in different directions. You also notice that there is what appears to be a like a ticket master off in a small window off in front of you to the left. You see that this individual currently has nobody in front of her, but there are several signs set up denoting that this is they all just say entrance. This individual appears to be dressed in some kind of old style Victorian gown, and is very finely and meticulously made up to look like almost on par with like a princess or something of that era. Very, very finely bejeweled and just very aristocratic looking. As you guys continue to observe around you and continue moving further into this large area, you see that the path continues straight ahead in a large open lane that simply goes right above the aquifer, and you see that ends in a simple metal, almost like a factory style door that you would guess either raises or lowers, kind of like if you guys have ever seen a blast door before. It's very, very thick and looks like it would take even an army quite a while to eventually carve through. You're all sure that it is probably mega damaged material, and it appears that you guys have probably made it to the main entrance of the inner facility itself. As you approach, the woman in the kind of kiosk rings out in a clear and melodic voice, and just simply says, "Welcome, travelers. Please state your business to the wandering aristocrat." And as it does so, there's something in its voice that sounds a bit off, and it makes you guys take a closer look. You now notice that the female form of this individual is only complete down to just below the rib cage. From there, it is a very simple and unadorned kind of silver, just kind of like a knob or bulb that is connected to an articulated kind of armitage that allows this representative to kind of move up into the sides and forward and back, maybe at most a foot or two. And as you see this, you realize that this is almost definitely an artificial, construct meant to simply be a greeter. With this, what would you guys like to do?
Ymir approaches the construct and answers its inquiry with a simple and direct answer to shop and trade skill.
Okay. Anybody else saying or doing anything?
I'll ask for there's a library or possibly a school of mages or magic users.
Okay. Ymir, as you finish your statement, it gets a broad, very pleasant, welcoming smile across its face and gives you a courteous nod of acknowledgement of your statement. It then turns to you, Ren, and in that same just very pleasing and welcoming tone, it says, "Indeed, Master Wizard. There are many facilities at which one can peruse the higher order, infinite secrets of the arcane arts, as well as several guilds one may inquire about entry into and membership within inside of the Wandering Aristocrat. All this and more can be found. Any other questions before you proceed?" With this, the lady cocks her head very quizzically to the side, with that same huge grin across her face, seeming to be pleased but nothing more in the world than by rendering assistance to travelers such as yourselves.
Where would you recommend that I find mega damage materials, and where should I ply my trade at?
At this, she turns back to you and focuses on you intently and says, for those types of inquiries, I would direct you towards the Berg. She says, most of the more, she pauses slightly and says, arcane and physical forms of art and commerce can be found there.
Ymir nods his head respectfully and thanks the construct for its assistance.
Okay, it nods and it says, "And so, would you like to begin in the Berg?"
Indeed.
Okay, and it pauses momentarily, obviously kind of waiting to see if everybody is going to concur. Kind of waiting for some kind of cue that everybody's on board.
Oh, would that be the same region where I could find schools of study on magic and guilds, as you said?
Okay, at this... Just a moment. At this, she replies, "Indeed. The Berg is known for the more esoteric as well as grounded physicalities and marketplace destinations." She says, the other primary options for future reference are the Lanes, which encompasses Newtown. She says this is the primary hub of technology and the modern. And she says, and then there is the Row. This is where our patrons gather for nightlife. And at this, an even creepier version of a smile extends across the corners of her mouth, making them stretch to almost jokerish proportions. And there also is a strange kind of gleam in her eye, accompanied by each eye looking in a slightly different direction as it settles into this grim rictus. Again, she's just holding completely still. Just wanted to make sure.
That's where I want to go.
Okay. And Ren, you're saying anything? Or I'm sorry, Akama, you saying anything through this? Did you want to acknowledge you want to go there, or did you want to ask something, or say you want to go somewhere else, or?
I'm with it. I'm push forward.
All right. So as you all kind of nod in agreement, you hear a kind of dinging bell, and her face returns to normal. She withdraws about a foot and lowers about a foot so that she's kind of retracted back into the opening a bit. And you see the light overhead above her that was illuminating her actually goes out. Simultaneously, you hear a large kind of exchanging of weight across some kind of mechanical infrastructure as the far wall of mega damage metal begins to slowly raise up from the ground, and after a few seconds, which makes you estimate that it was probably buried somewhere between 3 and 4 feet deep in the ground, as it raises up, you see on the other side the entrance to the Berg. As you guys get here and start moving up towards the opening, you're quickly transitioning into a large open kind of street. You see that there's some kind of squalid conditions around, and you would guess that the overall wealth level in this area is not that high. You do see some kind of urchin children running around here and there, but nobody looks, necessarily ill cared for. There are not bodies on the ground, by the way. And the individuals that you see running around, it's more like here and there you'll see some, some kids or some figures kind of milling about, but no major activity. You see that the condition of the kind of overall road is rather shabby, and that this is probably an area that's a lot more, kind of, old London, like 1700s kind of, level of technology and comfort. It does appear relatively clean and unblemished by any kind of industry or pollution. And you do see that off ahead of you, it seems like things really start picking up. Kind of like this is the outskirts of town where those with the least are able to afford to live, just like in most places. And so as you continue moving forward, you notice that even the kind of children running about here and there all have a friendly wave for you, or a courteous nod or a bow. You see that you're starting to witness more and more individuals kind of milling about ahead as they seem to be doing simple chores, gathering groceries, doing simple labors on the side streets and so forth and around their houses, as the kind of activity in town is starting to pick up for the day. As you move further in, you start hearing all kinds of sounds like blacksmithing taking place in the distance. Slow and obviously to your ears, Ymir, just kind of getting things warmed up for the day, but clearly the sounds of bellows and the first tentative claps of one's, primary hammers getting any leftover residue off as they start to slowly heat along with the morning climbing, or along with the sun climbing its way across the morning sky. You are definitely inspired to hear some of your craft's traditional sounds clanging through the air, and they start to kind of rouse your fire within to create and to forge. As you guys move forward a bit, you see that in front of you is a large kind of square that has what looks to be several different businesses on either side lining it. And then the path continues forward, set up almost like more of a straight kind of alley with ringing shops. As you look at some of these different structures, you notice that some of them are relatively shabby on the outside, but from the smells of bread baking and fine pastries being baked, as well as morning cuisine being prepared at local kind of diners and so forth. You could tell that this is indeed a place that, even though this might not be the kind of rich area, this is definitely a place where one could find some real treasures from the artisans within, and definitely from the smell of things get a full belly. As you're proceeding, you see what looks to be a blacksmith set up in a fairly rustic looking kind of shop, with a combination of kind of modern and ancient techniques being applied. You see that this is right alongside a large, what looks to be a blacksmith kind of an actual storefront. And this seems to be kind of like an outdoor, maybe not primary forge, but an outdoor location where either additional work can get done, prep work, whatever, in addition to whatever the facilities within would hold. This individual seems to be working pretty hard. He's a fairly tall man that seems to be of simple human origin. He's got sweat across his shirt already, even though it's still relatively early, and he seems to be thoroughly enjoying himself as he hammers away on what you can only guess is going to be some kind of bladed item in the future. As you pass by, you notice that he stops his hammering for a moment and looks up at you. He wipes the sweat from his brow with one sleeve of his shirt and has a wide grin across his face, seemingly involved in his own little heaven here. And he calls out in a loud and friendly voice, saying, "Welcome, travelers. Any business I can point you towards here in the Krat," he says.
Ymir instantly walks over to the fellow smith, the fellow kinsman in the art of the forge, and a large smile comes across his face as he greets him heartily, and he inquires to the man, or the smith. He inquires to the smith. Hail, kinsman, how finds you today? Forge seems hot. Fire seems stoked and ready for creation today. How are you feeling?
Okay, and upon hearing your accent, he seems a bit startled, and he actually sets his hammer down, and something that you know is not really done very often because it means there's going to be quite a bit of work, created by making this mistake, but he sets his forge piece to the side and lets it begin cooling, meaning it needs to be retempered. And as he drops his tools and his work, he wipes his hands briskly on his pant legs in order to free him of debris and sweat. And he reaches out and gives you his approximation of kind of a warrior's handshake, which, you have to obviously be gentle not to fucking rip his arm off. But as he does so in perfect Russian, he says to you, the noble tongue. Finally, I can speak it again. And a huge smile explodes across his face with this, and you can see that the man indeed seems to have wooden teeth replacing each of his natural teeth. They look proportionate and completely functional, and free of any kind of rot or anything like that, but it is astounding because you have definitely never seen this before.
Do I get a sense that he's possibly a human Kuznia?
You don't believe that he carries the old magic with him, but he definitely seems familiar with the old land. So
okay. Well, Ymir, wide-eyed grin, hearing his native tongue once again, and he goes, yes, it's been quite some time since English is very difficult for me, and
he barks out a sympathetic laughter, a gale of laughter, yeah.
English is very difficult for me, so it's always nice to converse in the tongue of the motherland. What is your name, dear Smith?
And he whips back to you, just very casual and calm. He just says Lars. And you?
Lars. They call me many things. In my homeland, I am called the Mountain Ogre. But you can just call me Ymir. It's a pleasure to meet one of the craft that takes it as seriously as I do.
Okay, and he nods and says, indeed. He says, may I ask? He says, are you a practitioner of the Silver Anvil? And as he says this, you know that is indeed code for kind of the Kuznia way. And he gets a kind of sly kind of crook to one corner of his mouth and an upturn, seeming to already know the answer, but hoping that you'll give the information freely.
Ymir cackles, and I'm talking a hearty belly laugh, understanding the fellow Smith's cadence, and he looks over his shoulder and just sort of does a head motion towards the massive star metal maul draped over his shoulder, and he goes, indeed, I am a teacher of that way. My people did quite a bit to cement the legacy of the Silver Anvil. We'll just say that.
Okay. Now, as you're speaking with this individual, Ren and Akama, you guys are kind of looking around as everything fucking devolves into Russian, which neither of you speak. And as your interest is starting to get captured by some of the sights around you, you guys see off in the distance what looks to be a really kind of hoppin', maybe bar and restaurant, some kind of tavern that is relatively close by. You also see that there looks to be, on the other side of this blacksmith, inside that storefront, there appears to be an actual, like, blacksmith shop that is open to the public. It's got, like, an open face, like a bar kind of situation, with a huge stock of goods throughout. You're also seeing that there's a large facility off to one side that is open in front, and through the doors you can see it seems to be some kind of magical shop where apparently visitors are just strolling through and checking out some kind of goods and wares, but all you guys can see is these little figures, and, you know, the rest of it through an open door. But essentially, as you're looking to see what kind of shop it is, you're just seeing these, like, little figures, and you're kind of at a loss. There's several other establishments around as well, but those are some things that you're noticing. As Ymir, you wanted to... I'm sorry, you wanted to ask him what again?
We were just speaking, and yeah.
Oh, and he asked you if you... Okay. He winds up saying to you, I think I may have some work for you if you'd be interested. He says, might take half a day if we could set it up, and the pay would be generous. And with this, he gets a really big smile on his face. He says, he kind of winks at you, and he says, I can put in a good word and make sure you make premium coin for this. He says, interested? And
Ymir
by that, he simply means, would you like to know more? He's obviously not, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Ymir raises an eyebrow hearing the Smith's request, and he's very interested in his offer. But something turns in Ymir's brain. He mentions coin, which is nice, but he has other things in mind, and he goes, I'm more than willing to lend my strength to a fellow smith, one especially that's familiar with the way of the silver anvil. But in lieu of coin, I actually am looking for materials, mega damage, metal, furs, the things that I could use to create. Could we possibly work that out in lieu of payment?
And with that, he chuckles slightly, and he says, noble smith, again in the mother tongue. He says, noble smith, for the sum that I can fetch for you for this task, he says, you may freely purchase from this facility's stores in order to buy whatever goods you need for your projects. He says, and I guarantee you will have a tidy sum afterwards to still apply to your adventures.
Well, just finding that very agreeable, Ymir nods his head and goes, aye, as I said, I would be glad to lend my strength to a fellow smith.
Okay. He says...
Shall we talk details?
So he says, in 5 minutes, meet me around the back of this shop. He says, I'm going to go get the owner and let him explain the job to you himself, so there's no miscommunication. He says, fair enough, and until then, just a handshake with the understanding that if you do not accept, of course there will be no sour grapes, yes? And he holds his hand out again in agreement.
Ymir nods his head honorably in agreement and clasps the smith's arm lightly, like they did before when they first met in agreement.
All right, and at this, he quickly, he had been wearing an apron, and he takes it off and, starts folding it and just really quickly setting a couple of different important tools to the side and getting things set so nothing is in danger, and begins kind of wrapping his tasks up so that he can go inside and begin speaking to the owner. You turn back around to the group, and like I said, you guys have been kind of looking around and seeing what kinds of shops are available here. You do see one last one as Ymir is wrapping up his conversation, and it's this beautiful kind of like floral supply store. You're not sure what exactly it is that they sell, but it looks like it's got some pretty interesting things as well. So, again, there's several more businesses all around you, but that's what you've been able to see so far. Ymir kind of rejoins the group, and what would you guys... Is there anything you guys had wanted to be doing while he was having that short conversation? Pictures or, anything, any other activities? Or just taking in the sights?
I'm pretty much taking in everything, I think.
Okay.
As Ymir rejoins the group, I'm going to turn to Akama quickly and speak to him and say, Brother Akama, I have now the time and the space to begin the project we spoke about some time ago with your dagger. If you would be so kind to lend me your silver knife, I will make sure when I smelt it down and bind it with the dark metal, it will help stabilize the enchantment.
Akama, did you want to say anything?
Nope.
Do you want to give him the dagger, or?
Yeah, so I reach in the bag and hand him the daggers.
Okay. All right, and this is which dagger is this, guys? I want to make sure that I'm...
It's the
silver daggers.
It's the silver knife that certain classes start out with as part of their base kit. And I have one.
And you guys had talked about forging...
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Part of the project with the dagger of the dark metal, you and I had talked about the silver, and with my skill and knowledge and the silver, it would help stabilize the enchantment to where I would be able to forge something proper out of the dark plate of metal.
I remember now. Okay. All right. Excellent. Yep. Excellent. Okay. So you hand it over. Sorry, guys. We've had so many. We've had so many things like this.
That's...
As you hand that over, definitely, Ymir, you get the sense that this is going to be, you're finally going to be able to start working on this project, and you're itching for it. Okay, so you've rejoined, and did you want to say anything about this offer or anything? Is there any other dialogue anybody wants to have discussing what to do, or does anybody want to say anything or do anything?
I mean, if he's...
We just lost a comma.
Oh, yeah, he DC'd.
Do we still... Can you still hear us? Akama?
He's off of...
Yeah.
He's not on L20. Oh, you're on... Oh, what happened
Yeah,
to...
my game just fucking... page just froze and crashed.
Okay.
Give me a
All
second.
right. Yeah, no worries at all. What was it you were starting to say, Ren?
Oh,
You were asking something, I think?
was he about to forge this, or is that what you're, like... or is it
Yeah,
just-
they had talked...
just about to discuss, or... About, I was gonna say, if he was about to start forging this process, I would like to... Ren would just be interested in watching the process, but that's...
Yeah, no, I'm not forging that
Okay,
yet.
yeah, I didn't
but
think so.
that's but now since Ymir has the tools and the space and
Yeah, I wasn't sure if,
time-
since you guys had said you discussed it, I wasn't sure if you would, like, were just getting into it because you the prior thing. That's why I was.
No.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I was referencing the conversation that we all had, that we were all present for back in BB's bar when we spent the night there when we
That's
were
right.
all
Good
talking.
memory, man.
Yeah.
Good memory. All right. I can see... I don't see a comma back yet. Is it giving you problems?
Yeah, give me a second.
Yeah, it's getting to be wrap up time around that time anyway, so we could probably the next little chunk or whatever.
Yeah,
There you go.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay.
I'm just trying to keep everything on track, GM. I'm not
Oh, no
not
worries
by
at all.
any means saying that we have to call it or anything. I'm just saying it's 7:00 my time, and we're usually
Is there...
7:17.
Well, let me ask, is there a certain time anybody needs to wrap it up tonight? I definitely don't want to have it go over what people are wanting. So,
No.
Yeah, not in particular. I was just
okay.
making it clear. That's all.
And how about you, Ren?
I mean, I typically like 7:38 is normally a good time for me.
Yeah, so 7:30. Yeah, that would be
But I mean,
good.
I don't have anything pressing at the moment.
And that's what, another like 15 minutes or so?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Oh,
that's why.
7:30. Yeah, it'd be like about 50 minutes, I guess.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Okay, so now that we're all up and running, you guys are back in the group, and
Do I need to add that silver dagger to my pack, or can we just say
yeah,
that?
no worries.
Okay.
Although, since it's going to get used up, whenever you're ready, a comma, you can go ahead and remove that one from your inventory, okay?
Alright.
Okay. And let's see. At this point, Geiger has hopped off of the rail, and you're basically just moving at a snail's pace through this kind of street. And as you look over to the right, you see that there actually is a large open area that looks to be almost like a transport depot. And what you are seeing is a large kind of maintenance facility that's open, where a bunch of those sphere tanks and some other different kinds of almost like military looking gear are housed. You're seeing some of the same drones that you first saw by that tower structure, as well as what looks to be some kind of aerial cargo loaders that are armed. And finally, what looks like some kind of artillery walkers that you would guess would be used for, ranged defense purposes, like deployed and basically just be able to be hitting targets at range. So you would guess that there are several dozen of each of these vehicles just in this particular hangar. You're not sure how many of these would be throughout the whole facility, but just this amount of ordnance alone and kind of aerial capability would denote this overall structure, the Wandering Aristocrat. You would guess that this thing could really fucking put some defense out if it needs to, and in a big hurry. Probably on par with not taking down huge kind of Omega level, threats, but being able to put up enough of a defensive screen to kill at least like mid-range threats and hold off greater threats long enough for the facility to get away. So anyway, this definitely impresses upon you guys. There's a reason nobody's just like taken this place down and looted it. You also realize that this means that you could park your buggy if you wish, because you're seeing what looks to be a kind of an office area, as well as kind of like a business front set up to house vehicles and store them and maintenance them. It looks like from some of the signage that you'd be able to get all kinds of different services here if you chose. So that is an option if you'd like to go ahead and stow your vehicle or have anything done to it. All right, and with that, I just wanted to make that plain. Since you're still in your vehicle, I didn't want you to feel like you're going to be driving through the whole fucking place.
No, I appreciate it.
And you did have your drone come back and reattach, obviously, once you guys.
Yes, that would have been a quick, just like recon type, just scope the place out, and then it was set to come back right back and reattach. Yeah.
Excellent. All right, so just in the one place that you guys requested to go, the Berg, you guys have all kinds of options around you, and you're back together. So in our last few minutes here, what would you guys like to do?
Ymir is just gonna make it turn to the group and say, brothers, I have work to do or a job to possibly attend to today. If you would like to explore and resupply, how about we...
Oh, wait, let me make something clear real quick. I just wanted to make sure of this. You're not getting the impression he's saying you have to start right away. It would be... You're not really sure about that. So okay. I just wanted to throw that out before you make plans or whatever. It's, Yeah,
okay. I thought it was like
he's just saying that the job will take half a day. That's all.
Gotcha.
So gotcha. I know that's kind of ambiguous. So
speech is now got you. I ain't leaving yet.
All right. So what do we got, guys? What's on people's minds? I need a perception check from Ren, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Akama, what are you looking at, man? What's looking good to you? What do you have on your mind?
I think I'm gonna look for a nice comfy bench.
A nice comfy bench. All right, you look around and you see that outside of that, what looked like that kind of flower store, there's all these large kind of embroidered, decorated little shaded gazebo things that are apparently, made for people drinking tea or something from the odors that you're getting on the wind. But it actually looks like just a perfect place to just sit down and kind of catch one's breath for a minute and look around.
Said it was a tea shop?
Yeah, the shop that seems to have all kinds of floral goods and baked goods and things. You're not exactly sure what they sell because it's far enough down the lane that you're not really able to see the front signs. But you can see in well enough to see that it's, it's something to do with flowers. And there's just really nice odors coming from it. You're sure that it's they got to serve tea, especially with the setup outside. So,
all right, yeah, I'll head that way and look to purchase something to drink.
Okay, you start strolling over that way. Did you want to say anything to your companions, or?
I'm just gonna be walking around. If anything, I'm
all right, cool.
Just gonna be hanging out.
Right on, kind of just checking things out kind of vibe. Right on. As you start heading over there, you see in the window there is a blue kind of glass jar in the window as you get closer, and it's a gilded glass, almost like a cage, with spiraling glass kind of rods as the bars, and there's gold filigree and adornment all along the edges and in veins threading throughout the bars themselves. So it's this really intricate, amazing looking glass cage with almost like a golden Colosseum ornate kind of topping structure, like a little pyramid. And it's sitting on a really elaborate gold kind of base that has, all this just really, really intricate detail carved in with different sceneries and vistas and, figures and animals and stuff. The case itself is a work of art and mastery. It's absolutely beautiful. But what lies within is something that instantly makes the rest of the world melt away to your eyes. And you actually stop in mid-step and just begin staring at the contents of this cage through the window as all else real in the world seems to melt away to you. And you see this magnificent, quasi-ephemeral, jewel-like flower hovering in a kind of field of shimmering, multi-hued mist.
I put my hands on the glass and then put my face on it and put my forehead tapping the glass.
Like a little kid looking
Gotta get one eye closer
a toy
to
in a store window.
Right on. So you are enthralled indeed by the mystical flower. And coming back to you, Ren, as you're gazing around looking at something to catch your attention, you notice that outside of that shop that you noticed with the strange figures, you see that the sign above it says the Merchant of Brass, and in an electronic signboard scrolling across, almost like stock predictions, it's announcing different sales within the store itself. And as different images flicker by, with different price points, and small kind of home-brewed advertisements for some of the more exotic products within, seem to be snapping by every few seconds, you notice that one in particular catches your eye, and as you read the description above it, you see that it indeed says, "This week's special, one portable nano forge. No price listed. And with that, we'll wrap for the day.
So it's like lobster at a really high-end place.
Market
used
value.
To work. Yeah, exactly. Market value. I got you.
And now, bow your head for the patrons. BKZJT, Rapid 3642. Andy Sasa, Nova Rose, Kelly T, Tommy Gunn. Lazy 24 Colts, Jess H, It's. If you would like a special thank you at the end of each of my videos, and some other cool stuff as well, visit patreon.com/homegrown lore. Thank you.